now assume, God forbid, Edo Wae, Nika Wae, that the Oba dynasty ceased to exist. Do you think that my family Oragbon Yagwa Lord Maya do subservient to than the Ogiamen family? So they will not force us to go and be subservient to them. The Oba of Benin has never forced himself on the Edo people. It is our servitude to him. That is why we can die for his matter.
Exactly.
Our relationship in our force, you know. Many I will say in the past 7-8 years. I can say. But many I will say, as far as then, so it did, you not move, you not shake.
Urban they go transfer.
Them and even for 800 years. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you how foolish and stupid they are. Ask them this question again. I'll give you some facts that they cannot answer to. In one of my videos, I said the first recorded historical event where a human sacrifice was ever conducted, Ogiamen. Don't take me to court. I'll bring books and show them.
Come again. Come again.
The first recorded human, that the first people to perform a human sacrifice. Near accuse Egwai for.
That is during the time when they were administrative for some time. During the time of their.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it was not really during the time of administrative. It was during the time of Ewedo.
Okay.
They were no longer in control anymore. They were no longer in control. Ewedo has defeated them. Now,
okay, please, can you just for a few minutes elaborate on that human sacrifice, because they all the time the Ogiamen family all the time attribute that havoc to the palace. Please, sir.
They are the first person to perform the human sacrifice.
Thanks for clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified. The first human sacrifice was done by the Ogiamien family in Benin. The Ogiamien family is not related to Ogiso, hence, they don't have blue blood. Benin morning salutations are the mechanism our ancestors put in place to identify families. Mr. Izadawa asked us to ask the Ogiamien family to tell us their morning salutation, to know if they are from the Ogiso family, because morning salutation is used to identify families in the Benin kingdom. In this interview, Mr. Izadawa debunks the lies of the Ogiamien family. When Oba Ihedowa passed on April 29, 2016, his first son became the Oba and took the title Oba Elwahe II. In the coronation of the new Oba of Benin, Oba Elwahe II ignored the Ekiokpagha Treaty, which is a post-coronation activity. As a result, Ekiokpagha does not have a locus standi in the coronation of the Oba of Benin, Mr. Izadawa stated. Osemlingi Arisco did impose himself as chief Ogiamien. But the palace of the Oba of Benin, which is the custodian of Benin traditions and culture, said the chieftaincy title of Ogiamien is hereditary. The first son of the holder of the Ogiamien title would inherit the title if the holder passed on. Besides, it is only the Oba who has the prerogative to reaffirm the title to the son of the late Ogiamien. Even the present holder, Chief Osorobo, nobody knows where about him, whether he is alive or not. Mr. Izadawa also talked about how Osemlingi Arisco was arrested and jailed for illegally occupying the Ogiamien chieftaincy title. However, Godwin Obaseki set him free. The Ogiamien family must explain to us how they own Benin. The progenitor of the Edo race is Pa Idu, who had 7 children, 3 sons and 4 daughters. The first son was Akar, the second was Ifa, and the third son was Emahi. As they were coming from the present-day Kogi state, one of them died, the first son, Akar. It was the 2 remaining sons, Ifa and Emahi, who got to the land of Ingodamigodo. The 2 sons became the progenitors of the Edo race. According to Benin's history, the first human sacrifice to have been done in Benin was committed by the Ogiamien family. In this interview, Mr. Izadawa explained why it was done by the Ogiamien family. They have always been anti-royalists in every society. Some members of the Obaseki and Ogiamien families are anti-royalists in the Benin kingdom. He also explained how Oba Ewedo destroyed and put an end to the Ogiamien menace in Benin. The Oba Ewedo Zinyazer chopped off the head of Ogiamien's Oliha, who was leading Ogiamien's troops against the Oba troops. Mr. Izadawa talked about a series of historical events in relation to Ogiamien in this interview. Very interesting historical analyses. Please sit down and watch this explosive historical analysis from Mr. Izadawa.
Domino.
Okay.
Why I was well, a matter of Ogiamien, I think several times I've trashed it. Even if you don't know where we've been, I think that video I did it 2 years ago, about 2 years or 3 years ago.
Wow.
I placed a bet. Aside a boge, navi anigme. Gary enogi kaido kenedogme kenawe European historians kene agme ke archival materials kenate intelligent report they should be able to bring one that referred to their lineage and I refer to their lineage as a royal line. That is the question I've asked. Well, for a fact, but for all the research I made, when all of these issues were cropping up in 2015, 2016, Akedo, Mobaba, and all of that. That's 2016, where all of these issues cropped up. The Arisco did impose himself as an Ogiamien, but the palace, who is a custodian of the traditions and cultures of the land, now said that Egi Nerai Nomohe inheritable chieftaincy title Asegbeno Namuna Onawu Ona Yegbeyi Oheke Runda Ogiamien title ni Ohamobaeno is a chieftaincy title in the palace. So it is only the Oba of Benin that has a prerogative of reaffirming the chieftaincy title. Namuna Ona Yegbeyi Ahaman Ovieye Adiegwa Oba will reaffirm it. Now, Namuna was during the time of Oba Akenzwa. Bari Diawaya, Toyi Arioro be 78, Bari Diawan Dorioba in 1979. Namuna was a young boy at that time. Anatie Chief Osalbo Okonga. Near Bari Diagba were the Ekiokpagha Treaty. I will also speak about the Ekiokpagha Treaty, and I will also in this live video dispel that the Ekiokpagha Treaty is a lie. Is a lie. And moreover, Ekiokpagha Treaty is a post-coronation activity. And there's what we call pre-coronation activity and post-coronation activity. Pre-coronation activity on emi ya na hu ese ya na ze emi ya no keke ne edaken hu okeri oba. We call those pre-coronation activities. But Ekiokpagha Treaty is post-coronation. Ariobane. Aya werun da Benin sunu sometime 800 years ago. So the Ekiokpagha Treaty does not have a locus standing in the coronation activity of the incoming Oba of Benin. Where the battle of Unweru at here. You know, say Nana which a battle of Unweru. I will explain all of that later. So Osabo boy in our barrier there not by Ekiokpagha the mock battle at Ewedo, the mock battle, because the original battle had happened during the reign of Ewedo, who reigned in about the 13th century. So the mock battle at here. So Anna will and Osabonina Amado Tamegwa Bimiro Basunu die. If you cannot, because only Osabo Megie na wege Akenzwa. Now Osabonina Amado ta a family Egbo Amado Tabegwa ve emi sunu die. How come a no person who is a thug, when I risk is a thug, allegedly, allegedly by allegedly. Now, and do enforce a Ogiamien. I don't know. In the first instance, what happened to Osabo? The family has not officially come to report that Oyegbeyi. What now prompted you people to go and crown another one? Why the current holder is yet to be confirmed dead or alive? So these were the questions that the Oshomole government at that time had asked. So if you were not enabled by the palace to go and take that title, you become an illegal occupant of that title, which is liable to jail sentence. That White House or Oko. So escovity. So I also until Oswani Nodak Bani Keduwe Mwela Diana, a Kesini and fine, but that's not even the essence of what I want to talk about. So, but like I said, I don't but from judging from what the larger family had presented, that Uwiyawo Sabo Iroto, so that means Arisco is an illegal occupant of that chieftaincy title. And that chieftaincy title is a title only that can be bestowed on their family members by the Oba of Benin. So, as of today, the Ogiamien that the Benin Kingdom recognizes, or Chief Osabo Kongai, na tiarisco ni illegal ni illegal wani ni ama no my Ogiamien title. The palace is not aware of that. That is an illegal. But like I said, it's maternally related to your Ogiamien family. Like I said, in market Benire, this could be true. This could be speculative. It is not in my place to get involved on family matters. My own involvement on this matter is, who are the Ogiamien people? What is their historical significance to Benin Kingdom? Why are they given the notion that they are the original rulers of this land? On your kind of war, you understand? In your kind of war,
very well.
Okay, this and that, you who know, and all of that. Those are palace matter to worry about, not my own. But for me, is to put this historical narrative as plain and accurate as possible. The first thing, Niaha, Oyewe, Ianya Tedu, they own the land. That is the first question that they have asked. Now, this is my response to them at all times. Why Anya Tedu Una wunyami, you have to not prove. You know, you might as well understand.
Very well.
If you said you own a property, though udimoto na, a police now do arrest you. And I anya moto na, uvie bi moto ni ya.
Kakabo.
I mean, we bi moto ni ya okay, wogile ya moto na. The Ogiamen should come out, not all those lies. Yeah, they'll be beating around the bush. They want the story to be about the Oba dynasty. Don't fall for that lies. Let's assume that Oba dynasty Nagiti Oba, whether Oromia, Eweka, the first and all that. Let's assume that they don't exist. Later, Oba Ewedo, we are assuming now. Oba Ewedo for the purpose of a plain historical debate. Let's assume Oba Ewedo. Okay, now, since Oba Ewedo, the Ogiamen now should come and prove to the Edo people. Because Evian was not the only surviving Edo or Godomigodo, however they want to call it, that existed at that time of history. So let them come and tell us how Evian owns Edo land. Ask them that question. They don't have an answer. Because that is the genesis of every single argument that they argue. Our bari kuti obari ne ena fien ena mo otoni ena mo noba. That's the argument. So in the first place, since ya mo toni noba, ari mo toni ni ya dai.
Wow.
Because ya mo toni mo noba dai. Ari mo to already ni ya dai that they not claim that they own it. Because they were not the only family that had existed at that time of history. At that time of history, there were already almost about 12 families chronologically that had existed. 12 major families at that time. Amongst these 12 major families, how did they not claim to own the land? So this is the first question that they must answer. Yeah, our barry matana, because that's where they want to put the line. So let's go back to history again. Let's go back to history. Let's go back to history before the Ogiso's time. Let us go and unveil the secrets from the pre-Ogiso history through the Ogiso history before the Oba history. So you cannot talk about Oba and not talk about Ogiso.
Exactly.
Because the people must exist first before the monarchy must come from. Kingship comes from the people. It is not the people that come from kingship. Before the Ogiso, before the first Ogiso, which is Ogiso Igodo, became Ogiso in Benin, who were the custodians of those lands, they will not be able to answer because they don't know anything about Benin history. So let's not trace the owners to the very beginning of our history. Paidu, three boys and 4 females. This is how you trace history. The 4 male he had, 3 male he had. The first was Aka. The second was Efa. The third was Emehi. Oni Arueha Eme Paidu no Bwedu. Aka, Efa, Emehi. But along the line, Marike Saidi Galade is a very long story. I don't want to go too deep. Not to confuse anyone. I can't give part 1, part 2, part 3 to part 10 of Evian Uhe. Uhe is the present day Kogi state. Iyagi day, Okpana Guwo Dewo on a North Jonoro, Ana Ati Aka. Then Evawo also Edo, Ana Ati Efa Emehi. Efani Vemehi Odo Buedo. Ewedo ya no wirak more imi. Isida Ewefa or Ewemehi Emahi. Kawoba Kawogiso. Eva, these are the two pioneering families of Edo land. One in Itana, two pioneering families of Edo land. Memesho Ogiamien.
No.
Memesho Ogiswa.
No.
Memesho Oba.
No.
These are the owners of Edo land. So at what time of history did the Ogiamen people want to buy the land from these two families? Funny enough, the direct descendant of this family, one Boyana do Zola Janwuya. But
Exactly.
these two families still maintained their originality. Egbe Lamehi, where Egbe Laidu. Lamehi, Laidu. Laidu, or Egbe Efa. Nagicho Ogiefa no Mwekbo. Ogiefa no Zeben.
Correct.
Then you have Lamehi. Ema Yerowe do not we Laidu. Ema Yerowe do not we Lamehi. These are the two owners, the original owners of Edo land. Every other families came from them. The Ogisos, the 31 Ogisos at one point in time came from them. The Obas of Benin came from them. Likewise, the Ogiamen came from them. At what point in time did these original families ceded the ownership of the land to Evian? They are not going to tell you that. The only thing they will tell you that they own Edo land. How? Again, attack. In my constructive analysis, I haven't said that the Obas of Benin own Edo land. I haven't. Did I? Imagine how Obanya talk. But at one point in history, these people surrendered their right of ownership to the monarch, not their Ogiamen, because in the first instance, Ogiamen has nothing. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Who were these two families now? Anna and Manazo. Now, if you pay attention, a lot of persons do not pay attention. There is a right. No give every year during the festival. No give Ogefa no mwekbo because here bawa no ten wa hin ana vieme vayo to no jona zeben ne kere no rona ona zekpo ana be emi no rekpo ni o magion awe gbera Ogefa to boy oba on no ruwekpo ni. But I can also tell you what is there, but I can tell you for a fact that part of the ceding of the authority of the land to the Oba are enact anytime that will give an umwekbo yado we me go. So the original two owners, like I have said, are the Egbe Lamehi and Egbe Laidu. It is a statement of fact. Let them come and debate me on it. Let them come and prove it wrong. You cannot claim to be the owners of the land. You cannot claim to know the history. You cannot say you are factual. Then uya koasema udo moya your salary ni a different way. That's what they do. They try to recruit Edo people. They are line boss already different people with WhatsApp do they by man.
Yes.
Oh man of temata or a recruit man. Do you recruit people if you are in the way of truth?
No, you don't recruit.
Did the Oba Benin recruit me?
No.
Am I under the salary of the Oba Benin? No. But we are fighting for the truth. Those who said Inyagele Nyato, why are they trying to bribe Edo people to join them? Eh? Mata lekoko se mata.
Confirm.
It is only lie you buy. You cannot buy truth. So why are they buying people? You know how many people that comes from my inbox that they inbox me say they must join the Ogiamen family to take fight Oba family.
Okay.
For what? Do you think even if God forbid they defeat Oba family, do you think that the Edo people will agree that Ogiamen should rule over them?
No.
What are they fighting for? What are they fighting? Do you think that let's now assume, God forbid, Edo Wae, Nika Wae, that the Oba dynasty cease to exist? Do you think that my family Oragbon Yagwa Lord Maya do subservient to than the Ogiamen family? So they will not force us to go and be subservient to them. The Oba of Benin has never forced himself on the Edo people. It is our servitude to him. That is why we can die for his matter.
Exactly.
Our relationship in our force, many I will say in the past 7-8 years. I can say. But many I will say, as far as then, so it did. You not move, you not shake.
Urban they go transfer.
Them and Evian for 800 years. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you how foolish and stupid they are. Ask them this question again. I'll give you some facts that they cannot answer to. In one of my videos, I said the first recorded historical event where a human sacrifice was ever conducted, Ogiamen. Don't take me to court. I'll bring books and show them.
Come again.
The first recorded human, that the first people to perform a human sacrifice. Near accuse Egwai for.
That is during the time when they were administrative for some time. During the time of their.
Yes. Okay. No, it was not really during the time of administrative. It was during the time of Ewedo.
Okay.
They were no longer in control anymore. They were no longer in control. Ewedo has defeated them. Now,
okay, please, can you just for a few minutes elaborate on that human sacrifice, because they all the time the Ogiamen family all the time attribute that havoc to the palace. Please, sir.
They are the first person to perform the human sacrifice. Now, ask them this question. There was a son, Ovi Hogbe, married a daughter. Ana ati a daughter ni. Ask them the question. Ana ati Ewe marry one of your Ogiamen's daughter. All those lies that they are telling you that the royal family do not marry themselves. Pure lie. Pure lie. Even during the time of Obadolo, not too long ago, the then Ogiamen married one of the daughters of Obadolo called Princess Igbinake. So they are telling you which their own brother, who is a professor, I think the first black man to establish a private university in the United States, called Professor Tony Ogiamen, assented to in one of his interviews on their own newspaper, Ogiamen Trumpet, where he agreed that he came from the line of Princess Igbinake, who was a daughter of Obadolo. But in lie, they're going to tell you that part of the Ekiokpagha treaty, they cannot marry themselves. And there are proofs where they have married themselves. So that can only show one thing. The thing that it can show is that Ekiokpagha treaty is the rules, does not exist. It's a lie, because in the first place I've established now, because at that time of history, they believe it was an abominable act when the royal family married one of their daughter, one of the Ihamani's son married one of the daughter. That daughter Ewe was sacrificed. Ask them. If they deny it, I'll bring a book written by Professor O.S.B. Omoyege and show them proof. I will bring intelligent reports. I have a particular book now. I will bring it, an intelligent report materials. A journal, which is called Ogiamen Journals, which was published in 2004 by a Russian professor, where she stated it, that a human sacrifice was carried out by the Ogiamen family on their daughter. One of their daughters was sacrificed, called Ewe. These are historical facts. The marriage to understand.
Very well.
But if you are not blinded in the history, they have laid all manner of lies, no substantiated fact. I give facts. I give reference point. They cannot tell you that. You cannot be a judge in your own matter. Put your fact out there. Don't be insultive about it. Don't be arrogant about it. Let me tell you, in 1897, ask them this question. In 1897, the British gave home Milton the unjustly invasion of Edo. Now, the British wanted, because they understood that the umbilical cord that ties the royal house with his people is unsevered. You cannot break it. The British was actually looking for a family that has a sort of connection, that has historical clemency to the throne, so that they can move that throne from the royal line to another entire family. That's what they were looking for.
Nice question.
Now, no, the Ogiamen of that time did not come out. Instead, he supported our Obaseki. No, you see, you don't understand the logic.
Very well.
Now, Omanogi nyado Oba Afuene. Ebodo Ladiana yana okay. Any family, yana do agwale family. Tania ebe ehene amuna. Wano wanyado wamaladia. Instead, when I support Obaseki.
Aye. Wala ke Kaladia. Wala ke Kaladia.
That will have been an avenue for them to claim back
the best avenue. That was the best
throne.
The throne that they say they own. The British now is giving you the throne on a platter of gold.
And you refuse.
You refuse. Instead, you want to support another person. Which was Obaseki.
Waonia.
Let them ask that question. Ask them
America.
Why did they refuse to take what they called their throne when they had their best possible opportunity? Is it now they think they can get it? Again, those are Ghana. Nobody was even claiming. Until Anado Dwikoyo, because there were a lot of dissenting voices. Anado Dwikoyo, the British came out and said, by nature, what are we supposed to give the Oba? And the chief of that time, Chief Ero of that time, Edaero of that time, stood up over Oba. It is the first son of the deposed king. By traditional right, that must be the king. The Ogiamen of that time was there in that meeting. He did not speak.
He kept mute and silent.
So these are questions.
Now, my leader, when you proceed, can I
say no caller now. No caller now. Later, no caller now.
Okay.
Because let him explain finish. Not that the caller will interject and try to add to it. He's laying historical fact now. Let him finish. Go ahead, sir.
Now, let's go back to Evian. Let's go back to Evian. Evian was a man who took advantage of the lack of leadership or the void, not lack now, the void in leadership at that time. When, in order to unravel historical fact, Edowe Emi Nosunu Iyase. When you are talking about history, you have to look at a preceding story behind it. Now, Ogiso Irebo instituted Irebo. There was an Ogiso called Irebo. Now, instituted the greeting system, Nagite, Lamogun, Labeze, and all of that. Now, the pioneering greetings at that time of history, one of them is, I think I've said this thing before. Uhunatwe ayaen egbenakere. Abi? Uhunatwe vedo. Uhuni ego banaswen. Ego kiso. Uhunatwe vedo. If Edoyi Aveyo, more greetings were not being added. Edoyi Aveyo, but they were pioneering about 10 to 12 pioneering greetings. One of those pioneering greetings, or obviously the first two greetings were Laidu and Lamehi, then followed by Laisu, the greetings of the Ogisos. Then, before you now start counting the greetings of the elders of the land, when I have Laogele, Lamosun, which is a rule, Laire. That Laire greeting, I want you to take note of it. I want to explain something very academic to you. Don't forget, Laire ni Ogiamen 12. But Ake Uzamani Edion Ogedo. Originally there were 5. The 5th one in your way is called Eholonire.
Exactly.
Eholonire. Atie. Eholonire had existed way before the Oba dynasty. Avec Bezomo, avec Ero, avec Oliha, they had existed way before the Oba dynasty. So you cannot say that they were influenced by the Oba dynasty. No, because they were in existence before the Oba dynasty started. So Laire was one of the earliest greetings in the land before the Oba dynasty started. Now, what is Ire? Ire is a deity. When Ezenati Boba River, Originally Ekpo River tie. As any in environment. Eke no na fie Ikpobaira na mobodere ni. Ore atie. On your serve ida okuda omi wana edose abe egbe ezore gbiyan o omi ni asun edoni ezore gbiyan o. Is that Ikpoba river that they are referring to? On Heno river ohore atie. But ekenezeni na Mwaladian, when every river has a source.
Yes.
Oruwo horror. You might just understand. Ekenezeni na honladian, ungodo likbobahi. Ekenezeni na honladian, oruwo horror. You can go and investigate. Ekenona honladian ana atezeni ire. Ekenona fikboba river gberana ate ore. Na ohe no gbaoge boni ekenona zoladian ate eholo nire.
Eholo nire.
Iyanya boni, iya gbaoge boni. Oni ose ni yana to laire. And Ogiamien people greet what? Laire. So Ogiamien people are offshoot of Egbe Holonire. They are not related to Ogiso.
Waonia.
They don't have any blue blood flowing through their bloods. Otherwise, let them explain to you what Ire means. They greet They don't know. Let them explain to you what Ire means. They greet They don't know. Bueno. So the Ehol of Nire is the custodian
of heredity.
Of the heredity in which the Ogiamien belongs to. In short, to even make it, let them go and read the book when their favorite historian is Jacob Wade Agarewa. Let them go and read the book written by Jacob Wade Agarewa titled Evian. If they don't have it, I can give them a copy. Don't miss. It was in that book Jacob Wade made it clearly that Evian is a family member of Ehol Onire. So, if you are an Egbe Holonire, how did you not become the owner of the title? How are you not a blue blood? Where you are Kegbo Gisore because of Giso to be a Hunia to only Laiso. What's in one night to Laiso?
Hey!
Do you understand?
Very, very logical. Understand? Go ahead.
These are not fables. These are not insults. These are statements of fact. Let them go and verify it. Maybe it's what they might have. Maybe they know. But in all climes of the world, I always say it, they are always anti-royalist. In any royal settings all over the world. I will like the royal house.
It's certain. Even in Britain, it's like that worldwide.
It's everywhere all over the world. I like the royal house. But they should don't come and make mockery of us and tell us that when we are not fools. They just come and not twist our history to suit their lies. They might just understand.
Very well.
Now, a lot of people have been asking the Ekiokpagha Treaty and the Ekiokpagha Treaty. Ekiokpagha Treaty is not, I've explained. I said, is a ruse. I will divulge that part. Wakariene, it may not idea. It may not idea. Okay, even a woman has agreed that a matter already as no as it will buy or ore. I'm seeing one comment. Understand? Now, Evian, because Eminodo Sunu Davi Magi Kaladeran, a lot of people have heard that story.
Yes.
He went on a self-exile. Amagi Mion, Emian also no very anado vo, anado discover Isago. Oh, you have heard the story, all of that. Oh, yeah, Biego and all of that. And then Ogiso Wodo become enraged and he committed a sin called Kirikuvia. He murdered a pregnant woman, which is a capital crime in Edo land. So he was now banished. Edomayamogie for a period of about 70 years. Now, again, in Edomayamogie, when there is a void of leadership, there are now bound to be rebellion.
Yes.
The elders, not a go giso dole doi, could no longer now manage the affairs of the Edo people. Maybe at that time it was Igodo Migodo, or however you want to put it, but everyone understand what I'm saying. These elders could no longer manage the affairs of the Igodo Migodo people at that time of history. So they were not chaos. Along that line of chaos, the Benin now said that, no wa believe ki Edonado tie any Oshoga. Some believe that that animal could have been a dragon. But I'm no wa gbele iwe ki ni I'm not one that can fly. It could have been a dragon, but we don't know. So run doni ekini ekyogisowa atie vegeni. But Edona edowe ekina gbado aigbare. We go together.
Present location where?
Agbado market, Ekiokpagha.
Thank you. I just wanted the audience not down there so that they understand what you're trying to say. Go on, sir.
The original name of that Ekiokpagha market was Ekiogiso. But if we cannot do that, Ekina Agbado Aigbare. So any need to yanya Nagitie Agbado market. So it took the bravery of a young man called Evian, because it was a mental worker. I mean, he used a marathon young winner.
Yes.
Yeah, why we marathon and all of that. Only do ya we arrow ninia, he heated it up, and in one of the escapades of that Oshogan, on our fios on our femina man do tia on our he strikes that animal very hard. I mean, what you show. I mean, what you show. A domede be me any a boy to oile or to yawu yesu. Because of the bravery of Evian, the Benin now said that we don't have a king. The elders now said, We don't have a king. But for the heroic feats, Ogiamen Ewedo, he can't be able to administer the kingdom pending on when the rightful owner comes, on when we have decided on what to do.
Kind of a die.
So, whereby a die be a holder of that responsibility. Be a holder of that responsibility. So, Evian was very happy. Evian was very happy. So now what was it? So Evian started to now oversee the kingdom for a very long time. For over 60 years. But Ogiamen, he started to nurse the ambition. Like every man will be. I can't blame him. If you give me a place need die, even for 10 years. You
become familiar with it.
So so Ogiamen, so he started to have nocturnal meetings. On do equation with some of the elders. Oliha, he started having meetings with them that since nawa permanent ye bogima. Nawa since ye marry Ogie, but Evian not John na mogine. Do you understand?
Very well.
I don't know Oviogi or Yogi. You do not have the blood, a blue blood. You cannot be an Ogiso. You're only an administrator because they cannot be void of leadership. Now, I think Evian had 3 sons or so. 3 sons. Now, this is a question I have asked, and you should also ask them. If truly they were descendants of Ogiso, they should know that hereditary is from father to first surviving son.
Yes.
But why did Evian boycotted his first son and decided to enthrone his second son? Ogiamen amo Ekiokpagha. By Benin, by Godomigodo law, una gela Ogiso. Otonari oru or to ahari oru. Obi we not John ewa amunania no iragmo. All. But he knows that his first son was weak. His first son will not be able to fight for the throne because he needed that ulterior motive. His first son will not be low, but his second son was more radical. Was not radical. Only his second son already ati irebo. Now, when he knew that the Benins, you cannot be accepted as a king in Edo land except the Oliha pronounces you as a king. He now made his third son an Oliha. Oliha Ogiamien. Because to accept to accept. Also ask them, why did they create Oliha for themselves? For you to be accepted in Edo, the Oliha will have to pronounce you. He's the head of the Ejion. So he knows that the Oliha will never agree. Ona create Oliha.
And a fake in him.
Very fake.
Mm-hmm.
The third son, Egbeni or produce Oliha Ogiamien. Do you see the arrangement?
Yes.
So if he was a blue blood, why didn't the Benin elders accept him instead of going to Yoruba land to accept another person?
As they claim.
Many mawayenania. Awasi bimae arioti yoba ariogiri. Wa mwemeni uonia.
Amao.
Vene doi wa polo sevegeni. Awasi avivye duni wa redo vegeni. Awa arioti yoba ayamogiri.
Many
yes, not wa wagenia. Anas your moto ayana amoriovi. On the thing as why metamia de wazwa. So again, mana wa amoriovi re. Made wa kon wa makwe again why I take bina oriovi dorie Ewedo wa magbina oriovi dorie ogene for more than 1,000 years. Eba wa dogbina. Now made come wa. Because I carry ya amoriovi re ni ati oriovi now.
Yeah.
Aya morio veri ona dori oba Ewedo. Then ya rema ya mame bagbina. Instead, Oriovi ona siya polowoto. We should call the Battle of Unweru during the reign of Ewedo. So the Ogiamen brought war to the Benin.
Yeah, the second son.
He had,
the second son of Evian.
That was the second. At that time, Ogiamen, and that would have been the second son in Atirebo. Joy, his grandson,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
or the great grandson, Evian. So,
we take continue. Please call her. When you don't interject. After we finish, then you ask question. With all respect, due respect. Or not clear. Or I finish in there, you cannot ask question or you add to it. Continue, my brother.
So, I got by Ewedo because, like I had established, you must take note because these things are logical. Don't forget, when he was not trying to impose his second son to take over from him, I've only another married. I mean, where do I die? Where we do it? Even I worry any one more. Even I worry any one more. I quit. So, unknowing to him, he didn't know that the Oliha was in constant conversation with a Caladera at Ile-Ife. So what?
You mean the original Oliha, not their fake one?
No, original Oliha.
Thank you.
Their fake one. If I want to call their fake Oliha, I'll call her Ogiamien. Ogiamien. Ogiamen. You see, Ogiamen because mame ba Benin story ni ve. That of again Benin Oliha oti obake were on imagine bend. Because the key to the throne at that time of history is Oliha. Oliha at that time of history was like a traditional prime minister. When Iyase, it is the announcement of the Oliha. Evian knew. On you say, "No, create Oliha. Ona Oliha." because in every video rock by they buy where Evian warning because it die, So the Oliha now did all that they can to go and retrieve our son in present day Osun State. No, Uhe is at Kogi. I can take a class. I know there's a difference between Uhe and Ile-Ife. The Uhe, the original Uhe, is at Kogi State. The fake Uhe, or Osun State, near Ile-Ife now. We can take a story, it's Ile-Ife, rightly. Uhe, ne do begani. Kogi State or Ile-Ife. I think I've done about 3-4 hours a lecture on that original Uhe and fake Uhe. So maybe you can go and look at it.
I have the video. I've watched it.
So now, all of those stories, the stories is very long. I don't want to go there. So Anadu, Ere was already old. He was already old because he has also spent over 70 years in Ile-Ife, so about over 60 years. Because Omawaji Ile-Ife directly when he left Benin, Anaka branch Urokoko from Urokoko Ugotoni Obiemeso Yeva. That's another story for another day. Kaladera wane omo ona biomo ye Ugoton Ogipa Ugoton Vedo Igwala Yana Okada. I'm telling you the movement. I have all of this. Oyario ona Erua. Erua was the last place Ikaladeran was before he left Benin. From Erua, he didn't go to present day Osun State. He first of all went to the original Uhe at Kogi State. From Uhe, Oya circumvent Okedola Ekenagite Ile-Ife Osun State. So these were his own travel. But when he was traveling, he did not go alone. Ewedo Nibun Lele. Ave Ihama, Ave Legema, Ave Letema. Quite a lot of Benins followed him. So that is why when he sent Oromia back, the same people not lele Evian the big with a bad. Ave Legema, Ave Ihama, Ave Letema. That is why Legema, Letema are not Yoruba words. They are purely Benin words. They all came back with Oromia. Oromia did not come as a stranger. He came as a prince of the land, but who was born in a foreign land. So, but now, when Oromiana got to Benin, there was a problem. The problem was that Ogiamien, Evian was Yeziniane Wotedo. Don't forget, he was an administrator for almost 70 years. Yeziniane Wotedo. If someone rule a place, when a Cameroon president Pobia was here for many years, the Kevin president, to remove him is a very difficult thing.
Very, very.
If you senior never do, Kakabo haven't been an administrator for that too long. So Oromia could not enter the metropolitan Benin. Instead, he stayed at the suburb. I cannot bear palace okay. The first palace, Romania. Why are you test time road now? Was it
why is it?
Usama.
Okay, Usama.
Usama.
Okay.
X. Z. Usama, you are referring to Oliha. Usama Street now, a big palace already. He was not there. We understand all the story. He couldn't stay because of language barrier and all of that. Another beer Weka was there. Honorary Oba was there. No, not Use. Use, that's where he married when he left Benin. That's where he went. Use. That's where Ewana be Eweka. So Eweka one Ehemi, then Ewedo. Now, why Ewedo was different was because Ewedo was not also born in Benin soil and Siloko Road. Ewedo was not born in Benin soil. Ewedo was actually born in present-day Ondo State at the areas of Iyase because Iyenawa of Iyase. Anna Princess Fabo. Now, Princess Fabo, when he was growing up in the present-day Iyase areas, Ondo was also part of the then extended Benin Empire. When he was growing up, he had a premonition and thought that he cannot be on the suburb when in truth he is the real king. He must go inside Benin City, where originally his fathers na Rioba. So where do he Rioba? He did not stay at the Osama Palace. Instead, he broke into again Oriobane. He broke into through Isekere, Onal Isekere, again Edowe Amagomi Agutegele. Ezevanowa aro na giti Isekere street na. Isekere is a varsity ave mani go call a ferry varsity ave mani is a seafarer.
Eva Sekere Vani Mekere.
Vani wekere ni na ezevareva.
Wow.
Ezeni canon. Ezeni na do na do breed mosquito, na do cause malaria. A lot of people were not dying. So the Obas of that era now called for someone not do another flavor from Ikpoba Hill, Akemweken, or many Ayafile, so another talk for another day. Another flavor. That man that led Benin people to field Zevani Anatie Nosiezeka.
Wow.
The title now over the years, Aite Ezenika. Ehanika. Agite title Chief Ehanika. Originally, you know what? Nosiezeka. Ezevanowaro. Amagomi Agutegili. Only said during the coronation of Obawa, what do me be Isekere Ogwani and a constructive bridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Arokpanoware Ugbefa Omonoba honor the Ipadoi. Maybe do tie na ya gwezeni.
Obele.
Obele. He's just trying to tell you can we bridge in as a Vawarewa originally.
Yeah.
We bridge land and to construct Iran no money.
Yes.
Ezereva. That is just the significance. Why no and not say nana construct a wooden bridge here.
Yeah, we're telling them because to understand the what's here na construct you are
a bridge. Then the Isekere was beside Omo on that day. Naya again as a waro across by Ewedo like do.
Yeah.
And at time do Amagomi Agutegili as a Vawano Omi River and River Otegili. But two of them has dried up. So Ewedo now entered Benin. When Ewedo entered Benin, he was ready to war the Ogiamien family. Do you understand? Yeah. He was ready to war the Ogiamien family. Now the Ogiamien of that era had Yazebo a troop already. Then Ewedo has also assembled his troop, led by Ogiamien. Ogiamien Olomi. That Ogiamien Olomi was from Ekenatie Ogbe Ibuya. Ogiamien Olomi Nikiri. He only did the soldier of Ewedo. So Kwoni Ome Owie Wokpa Natie Unweru. Emanibuma ewe wano. Area Asoro Street. Where Unagbero Ogiamien Palace, near a palace in Aguda here. Area Wanatie Unweru. Aichi Asoro Street. Valeria we Sokmonbawa.
Kabo.
Uwewa. Anagbino Koni. Okoni anatie Battle of Unweru. Because Evonachi Unweru Evanagbino Koni. Eva Odigena Fiwen. Ogiamen aro vegani.
Ogiamen aro vegani.
Yes. No. Ogiamen aro. Let me not get it. The head of Ogiamen's military
troop.
Okay, yeah.
Troop was severed. Then Ogiamen aro ni onarigwe from that Asoro Street at the Ekiokpagha. Ekiokpagha ni Imanibo Mike no ye. The present day St. Matthews.
Oh.
Noresa
Kpombawa nagi be St. Matthews yi.
Exactly.
Ekiwa arewa. Ekini Okpagha. Iranati Okpagha. Ewa no yana adweki ve Ototo Okpagha ni. Anatieva Ekiokpagha.
Okay, first is secular between Osaro and first is secular.
So about Nweru was a community. That was where the battle was fought and won. So Ogiamen from Nweru ni ona kon adio Ekiokpagha again your by Ewedo heyan.
To pay homage.
To pay homage. Now, this is where I have faulted Ekiokpagha treaty. Now, I don't know whether you people have read Ekiokpagha treaty.
Very well.
Now, don't forget, Ewedo has just defeated these people. If you read Ekiokpagha treaty, you will discover that the treaty is in favor of Ogiamen as against the palace.
Yes.
Someone who has been defeated will not be dictating a treaty to a victor.
It does not make sense.
I want we are people now. We should think. We are supposed to. Let's put on our thinking cap. This is not. Don't take side. I tell people, don't take side. Don't take side. Let's bring our logic. So that you can be able to think for yourself. Now, I have explained the Battle of Unweru. The Ogiamen troop was roundly defeated. The Ogiamen of that era, Onarigwekon from Unweru Ade Ekiokpagha, Ogiseva, a treaty was now reached between Ewedo and that Ogiamen of that era. Now, but if you look at the Ekiokpagha treaty that they present, the Ekiokpagha treaty is in favor of themselves. Someone who has been defeated, the treaty is not favoring him. How?
How does that make sense?
They said the first treaty was Oba Keri Oba, which is wrong. Oba Gagiri Oba, because the Ekiokpagha treaty is a post-coronation matter.
Sorry, Ewebo was already an Oba before that fight.
There was already an Oba before it. So it is not before Ake Moba. It is always Agagi Mobane and I with that mock battle, the Battle of Unweru.
Exactly.
Now, it is a post-coronation matter. It is usually about 7 to 14 days after Agag Obagagi like it. Now, they said Ogagiri Obane, he will not come to the Ogiamen that is existing. Ogiamen do Zeken or do Zoyo board that Otona Yemayane in rente. Do you understand?
Very well.
Now, if that is true, but at the beginning, I have established that Oma no man yato, Oma heke no yoto no ma. How did the Ogiamen get to own Edo land? Amo turning in the first place. If you know man ya, we ya no mare. Oh, if you know man ya de owo mare. Owo mare. Owo no mabo. When I rent no mare.
Only do to Amanya where you were senior.
Exactly. Otoni amanya. No more. I don't know whether you understand. So the treaty is faulted. And again, part of the treaty is they cannot marry amongst themselves.
What
I have established that they married themselves.
Yes. After the treaty.
After the treaty. I have stated two historical time, and I even mentioned name.
Yes.
They were married from the royal house. Near to die again after the treaty. Princess Ibinake Oyo Badolo married the then Ogiamen of that era. So how is the treaty not authentic? Now, some Obas since Ewedo observe the treaty out of reenaction of history. Like I have established, it is a post-coronation duty. It is not binding on any Oba.
Yes.
And of the 34 Obas since counting from Ewedo, no area Oba, less than 10 Obas have observed the treaty.
Less than 10.
10.
Audience, I hope we'll hear them all. Why underline it?
Less than 10.
Meaning not all.
No, it's not compulsory.
Okay.
Oba Akensa didn't observe it.
Because the reason why I repeat it again is that because they like using it as if that the whole Oba have observed and respect that treaty.
Impossible. I say it very clearly. If they don't know, they should go and find out now. If they don't know, they should go and find out now that Akenswa didn't observe it. Eweka didn't observe it. It was all by Hereditary that observed it. So, and I can guarantee you for a fact, Osalobana de Denota Nime. And one of the recommendations I wrote to the palace is that Ekiokpagha treaty should be abolished. I is not who said it.
And that's
because it's a rules.
It's
a rules. It exists even though. Now don't forget, I watched one of their particular video where they were saying that Uruemi Obakpake kan lewa. Lewa, Oba handle me.
Okay.
Yes.
Then a lot of people does not know Benin history. When I say, hey, maybe not true, okay, see that's small dog. Uruemi Enayaha Egenede Uru Nagmoya Lalawa Oba Elawa Oba na ya talk hamoge you must create a separate opening beside the main opening. No hala, no have laladia. Uronia to Roemi. Palace of Ogiamokbaye. Or Ogiamokbaye, nature palace. Or Ogiamokbaye. It is the norm. If the Oba must enter your house in the old, you must create a separate opening for him to follow and follow out. Or why we
yeah.
It is a peculiar history in the land. It is not only to their household.
Aga we aga.
Inya or wagba. Agba tie.
Agba.
You know when ekete no monoba to tie agba atie. Don't forget. Let me tell you this story. Again, you know, one of the things that the Ogiamen, after they were defeated at Unweru, one thing that he pleaded for was that Ewedo should make his title hereditary. Ewedo now made the Ogiamen title hereditary to the Ogiamen family, because that was one of the things he pleaded for, that Ogiamen considered. That is why you will discover when you are reading Benin history that Ewedo created the Ogiamen title.
Yes.
Not really. The title had existed, but it was illegal.
When Ewedo is the one that legalized it.
Legalized the Ogiamen title. Now, but when he was made a title, he was not instituted as Omadeba Urorokba Uwegwa until Obaseki became the Oba. Now, listen, you remember I told you at the beginning, I'm rounding up now so that they can ask questions. You remember I told you that the greatest opposition that Evian faced was Oliha.
Yes.
Now, there is an historical rivalry between the Oliha family and the Ogiamen family. The Ogiamen family hate Oliha family till date because Oliha family also ni amana mebari Ewedo. Now, I want you to listen. I'm talking about a precedent story. Now I want to narrate what happened during Obaseki's time. Again, Obaseki ha yarioba. The Avoliha Mateo Norioba ni. So Oliha rebelled. Avoliha natio Ogiamen. The battle between the Iyase, the Uzama chiefs, and Obaseki, which was led by Edogun in the side of the Oba of Benin. Now, Iyase defeated Uzama ne. Obaseki now created another councils of chiefs. Ana atinya Uzama Nibie. We call them the junior Uzama. The senior Uzama ni Owawe Oliha. Why did he create it? So that should in future Uzama nana degbe misbehave ana the Uzama Nibie will now usurp their function and now coronate that crown prince in any time. So he now created a junior Uzama to checkmate the excesses of the senior Uzama. And do you know what Obaseki did?
No.
He added Ogiamien to that junior Uzama to spite Oliha. Am I able to understand?
Very well.
300 to 400 years earlier, it was Oliha that ensured that the Ogiamen never became kings in Benin.
Yes.
Now, 300 or 4 years, 100 years later, the Oba at that time also now gave power to an Ogiamen to be able to rival an Oliha in the future, a form of checks and balances. So the Ogiamen now belongs to a chieftaincy title called Uzama Nibie in the palace. So these are provable historical facts that the best an Ogiamen is Ohamoba. Let's not even go to law. By the time we begin to open the law, that is why you can see Arisco is parading himself, but I'm a fugitive. You understand? I'm sure you read on here. Ave maninya do ya sorry Germany, sorry Italy, sorry France, sorry Odoya Kofi Pege Manoriobi. Manoriobi. Mawatota very very comfortably.
Only duty a wise man that is the backyard of a foolish man.
Exactly. Our motto resign. Our the people from Ilefe, from Yoruba land. Funny enough, even if you are from Oliha family or you are from Ero family, the moment you don't support them, you become a Yoruba man. But the moment you support them, you become a Benin man. And a Godomigodo man. Irrespective of they do care Babare who carry other family. But if you don't support them at all, you are a Yoruba man. But if you not support the whole world, you Shakiri. That's their stupidity. So these are just some provable historical facts that can be verified. Wow.
Yeah. That's the Wesekekabo. And before you start Akiati call Olakoko, which were timing not to illustration. Please just for brief 3 minutes is about after the our father Obaseki, what transpired during the reign of the Ogiamen, which was involved in that group. What significant role did they play during time of Obaseki tenure?
Are you asking me a question, sir?
Yes, sir. The way the Ogiamen that was added to the group by Obaseki, what role did they play in? Did they play any significant role? Because Estige, we all know Estige mother. Again, Ogiamien, Egbe, the palace of Iyoba. The role in Ogiamen play who way? Please explain.
No. I think the function that they have to the palace, like Ogiamen Kawaba, is because they were good wood carvers.
Okay.
They were given the role to carve the traditional tool.
That is the Ogiamens.
The Ogiamens. They were given the responsibilities by the Obas of then to carve the traditional stools of every Oba of Benin. Every reigning Oba of Benin. Agba.
The reason why I asked you that question, I know it. I just want you to touch on it. That shows that they have no claim because they are carving the
because Agani is Agba. It is the traditional school of the Oba.
That role that was given to them strategically, it is very clear that Obaseki knew what he was doing, trying at the same time to make them know where Wamanyakete now, you are my servant.
Exactly. To prove that they are servants of the Oba Benin. Which has been their role since that while.
That is why I asked that question. So a caller can Olakoko.
Okay.
Let the caller come in. 2 minutes. Because I will boom. I understand. I will boom.
Yeah, Padomo.
Koya.
Domo, sir.
If I am also a Zodowa, my prince of the prince.
Padomo.
Domo, sir.
My wife, I keep what we met for 2 hours. You sat me down for more than 2 hours listening to you because aware to say my batita or Wakarajo question, aware to them and everybody, I was your where I saw it with our point. If I was it,
Sir.
The Omioka, who got the great boy, Yoka of religion too.
Sir.
Any cow guero.
Sir.
Of you. In Munana, who get you, Sabo.
Sir.
Any cow guy away after and say,
Sir.
if your Nina was here away after and say,
Sir. Sir.
Ọ̀dùnọ́dì náà fún the Facebook ìdíkọ́ wanted in it.
Èdè wà náà, America. Okay.
Medical, a poster like Yana, medical wanted not after the boy.
Well, I said, where say?
Send it to me also, sir. Send it to sir.
When I went.
Okay.
So, you know, every mother, if I don't do what, went to.
Oh, Mama, here, no one.
What did I? What is the Wait, wait on the time.
No, sir.
Rosa. Okay, I got sir. I want I know what you hear.
No, sir.
Go, what be no what be
No, sir.
We know things on a meta. Oh, my God, the red call yati this story. Correct. We take the next call.
Take the next call.
Hello.
Hello, Marco.
Hey, Domo. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Hello.
Go ahead for your.
Hello. Marco, Buta.
Domo, sir. Go ahead. My wife, Buta.
Buta.
Yes, my wife, Buta. Go ahead.
What's your question, sir? Not aware, sir.
Buta. Papa K, it was Baba Domo. Yeah. Mr. Zodua. You know, I only have very correct and very good. Very
oh, direct call. Why cut it from?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Leave it. I am in Utah now. I am in Utah. Go ahead. 2 minutes.
Of that Obaseki. You understand because automatically my complicated and how Roma. Vagatayam, Umay. If you're big bag, now go give you. They will not catch a money after the Obaseki. You don't allow. Ukabwa typing that our Latin, our table living, Emma, Obanedi. Kubegi Naya Bibe, go Teddy, Oba already, Oba ready, Oba Sofri, go Obaseki, Oba ready. You understand, Oliha, and our table, the family, who table the head from nowhere. Olá, Coco. Progenitors. Mas eu até botei esse problema. Ele continua ele é. É já.
Oba, where say, man, you know, Tane, where say, my ticket to be met away by my ticket the next call. Well, where say, Kakabo, a direct call where you do your fee, a color banner. So that the Timmy, you know, go your work of the Yakuba. Yes, now go ahead, call out, direct call, cut you about.
Hello, Lako, call, so, every time, Mr. Jodua, my baby.
I'm out the way, go on. I'm going to call away. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, hello. Olako, good evening, sir.
Yeah, evening. 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Good evening. Yeah. Happy Sunday to you, sir. Yeah, I want to ask Uzodua something that has been a source of confusion for people, myself inclusive. Yeah, when he was giving account of his submission, he
Loud. Yeah, go ahead.
One and the same person. That is my question.
Go ahead. Repeat it again, please.
And yeah, and also
repeat the first question. The first question. Repeat the first question again.
My question is
oh, when you take direct in our line, and I am my leg. Go buy phone with mama.
Hey, pick. Who to go up here?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
My question to Mr. Ozodua is a Kaladera and Ozodua one and the same person? And also, the name also, when we look at the history books also, the name Oromia also comes up. Is Oromia the son of a Kaladera or Odudua? Thank you, sir.
So, do you get it clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Only answer now. Where the Kaladera and where is Odudua? Where is it the same person?
Yes, the same person.
So, Mr. Caller, I hope your question is you got
So
your
the
answer.
second question is not very easy. If it's the same person, so Oromia is the son of either Benin's we call it Ikaladeran, the Yorubas they call him Oduduwa. Is the same person. So Oromia is the son of Oduduwa, or Oromia is the son of Ikaladeran. The same person.
Hello. Yeah, go ahead. 2 minutes.
Now, Nigeria directly, yeah, not Guaji directly, because they didn't have it directly to the money, and I'll speak up. So, Mr. Jodua, Iyama, they not making us because Ogiamien only has Jona, only has Rana.
You mean the Ogiamen family?
Because when Iyama did, so the art near out, and the way when Iyama disturbed the dignity, the people, a criminal, Iyama. But and not take a case when they hear those years, when I'm a politician today, and don't stop, a man or take a case of persecution. Then the government where a persecution, then if they continue their activities, if they are selfish people might again, they have to be persecuted again, including the people whosoever that is supporting them. Because in Surulania, the whole Nigeria, the way they are changing the history, there is not one of them, no man have where the history there. But it's not that the politicians, if they don't start, they don't care, they don't want to do anything, they just, hello.
And 2 minutes
When
and go ahead.
the question.
No, leave a question where you turn now.
It's more important than a question. When you ask questions, we from not ask questions to the next 10 years.
Okay, who will contribute? Who give my way you are contributing? Or any question who will contribute? Go ahead.
So, like what I'm saying, we need to be active so that even maybe even a big guy, I don't know, Ogiamen in Kenya. Another person will come up and they have been doing all these things. And what those areas, the people of Winana, they are from these better people. But what they are doing all these digital activities, there's no good talk to them. There's no let them know that what people are doing is not good. But on our own, we're supposed to fight legally and stop people from this nonsense.
Okay, fireman, hold so that the question. When my time, my get Evian, my Guizodu Wagwan. We will not discuss that.
Later, the Mayagba conference call after this broadcast. Where's Mami can take on that call? Where's it? All right.
The next caller, so that already that can 15 minutes. We are up on your round up.
Okay. Hello. Yes, happy Sunday. Go ahead, sir.
Happy Sunday. Maybe so I'm going to go to Chieftaincy.
I give you that.
2 questions. The first question, sir, the thing is very clear that the Ogiamen family, there is just ordinary, just a commoner in that land. They don't have the blue blood. I don't even believe they are really Benin because first, according to Zrodua, if you go back to the beginning, from the genesis from Idu, who is the progenitor of the Benin lands, Idu is the, I believe, say the Oba of Benin, the south, the Idu Siraj, with the Ogiamen family does not have the blue blood or the lineage or serving the ancestors of Paidu. That is clear from that. Then the second question I want to talk is what I just tell us just now, say the Caladera have children in Uwato. And the question is that if the Caladera have children in Uwato, why the Benin, the only and no that why they not crown those children? Because I believe those children they are older than Oromia.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Okay. For the first person, Noah contribute. Let me quickly answer him. I know he was contributing, but let me quickly answer him. See, Epa, for what I have known, what makes up what we call Benin history today is the good, the bad, and the controversial. If there are not bad parts of history, the history would not be complete. It will be replete of lies. If there are not controversial parts of the history would not be complete. To get the wholesomeness of one's history, you must see Edoya Ekbita Agmoya Mebalovie view abi view whether Ekiokpagha. The role that the Ogiamen family are playing in Benin history is to even make the history very exciting. It is the reason why you are now sitting down and debating it. The major reason is the most important thing, that they remain minority, like I have said. When every Ogiamen son or daughter is born, this same lie, neither they open their head, they put inside. That is okay. I have no issue about that. But when we also born, I will also open the brain of my own pikin, put truth inside.
Exactly.
So that when my son meets their son, so we're around in the future, my son will be able to tell their own children, say, now lie or they lie. This is the history based on this logic. So you cannot, because of say they disagree or they are an opposing figure to the royal house, that makes them non-Benin. No. Even when we some people, when Charlie Poppy, when some Benin people be one raise eyebrow that time, say now Ogiamen ain't be now Ogiamen. No, I say no. Now our son in whom we are well pleased. Everybody can't agree with the kind of bitterness. If they were saying the truth, a lot of people would have since believed them. Their heart is full with bitterness. No love. So we will look, we will come, it will be like people now, it be like mad people. You carry them, go psychiatric, you cure their madness. We need to extend hands of love to them. Their heart is filled with bitterness. So not to stop them from exercising whatever lies that they want to exercise. Like I always tell them, if person is something they person mind, give and time, make it take talk. All these things when they talk, since they don't lie all the lie against the royal house, it will not shake the royal house. Because they are all lies, they are not verifiable.
Yes.
So I know say sometimes some of us get very emotional. Don't get emotional like them. Let them say nothing when una think so una don't hear when me never hear. No lie when they never lie. Nothing when they never talk against the royal house. Say papa they sleep with pikin. Say na so that they use human being. They don't kill 1,000 people. They do, you understand? But can they provide these evidences? Can they come to Nigeria now? I tell you, say, as they lie, they be fugitive. I talk on just now. If what you are fighting for is true, you come and prove it. But they are all in fugitive. They are all in exiles. That is why they cannot come to Nigeria. But again, we're not threatening them. Now then they even threaten us. We only just say, okay, come, make we go court. Go and prove your case. They have no case to prove. They have no single law backing them. So, but say, make we come, they pursue them, they go say, and I saw the politicians like you have said, blah, 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 blah. If something they person might make it talk on. If you not talk on, it will continue to the bottle run until a day we will still talk on. So all these things, when they talk, maybe they talk on, you they go. It doesn't change what Benin Kingdom is. Benin Kingdom is currently fighting Igbos, fighting Yorubas, fighting almost all tribes in Nigeria. But we are still here. Not to think about small Ogiamen. We're not rich. They're not rich. They're not rich 0.01% of the entire Edo population. So let them continue to play their role as an opposing figure in the kingdom. It makes our history very robust. So now I say make I talk about that one. Like my brother who asked that question. It is true that the Kadadera had a son, not sons, not plural, had a son at Uwoton. But he was not made an Oba because when he was born, he was a child that was dedicated to the deity of water. Ikaladera introduced Olokun to the Uwoton people. It was the same Ikaladera that introduced Olokun to the Ile-Ife people. That is
to the
why
Yoruba.
to the Yoruba, not to Yorubas. Ile-Ife is the only people in Yoruba land that does Olokun.
No, I know now. Present day, they all claim all of them together. You know,
Emetana,
yes.
Emare Golokun, but
Thank you.
Yoruba till
Thank
date.
you. Thank you.
Ile-Ife Okpake kana Olokun. Olokun ni Eyanya Ikaladera wa mwe. Ikaladera was an Olokun priest. So what he dedicated that child to the Olokun deity. So the line of that child, ati Ohen Okun of Ugoton. Those are the line of Ikaladeran's child, not Bell, which till date they were not, because he has dedicated them. He has dedicated that son to the Olokun deity. He was not allowed to be a king, and he was not even allowed. You know, I always talk about 3 principalities. Lido. The title in Ohon is one of them. Cross Udon Gieka, Fium Udon Gieka. In Udon Gieka, that is what you now call Ago Street for the Kenwa
Road.
Efiera Aduwedo. The title in of on may not see it. Like I said, there are deep things that I know that I cannot say, but leave it that way. So, but not that they didn't find that, but when they found that, he had already dedicated Egenede Omonamu Nolokun. A child dedicated to Olokun cannot be allowed to take another position. All right, that is why they went in search of the one that was born in Ife, and not the one that was born at Ugoton. He had an elder brother. Romy had an elder brother in Benin that was born at Ugoton. But even Oha Okun of Ugoton will not even tell you, except a Korean. So those ones would have been claiming for the throne today, but they know that they were dedicated to the Olokun deity. Sorry, no, Olokun is not a deity. Olokun divinity. Olokun is a divinity. So that is why Ile-Ife is the only place that practices that is Olokun is not it is not a common deity in Yoruba land. It is only practiced by the Ile-Ife people. If it has extended to any part in Yoruba land, you know that it was Ile-Ife that took it to other parts of Yoruba land. Because our son took that practice, that worship of divinity, of the Olokun divinity, to Ile-Ife. So when they are telling you that, why is it that all the deities in Yoruba land is being practiced in Benin? There's a lot of deities in Benin land that is also practiced in Yoruba land, one of which is Olokun. So that's the answer to your question, sir.
So we take this last caller.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Hello. Yeah, Domo sir. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I greet every one of you.
We greet you, sir. Happy Sunday.
Yeah. I greet Ewedo. I greet Elema and others there.
Corey Kisley. Yeah.
Mr. Ewedo, I want to. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. It's deep.
But
why not?
Yeah, that I greet Ewedo, Elema and others. Father and others. No,
oh, where's my trowe?
Where's the Domo?
Yeah. Ewedo, I want to ask you a question. or I want to quickly. So, my name is Dan Owo Obaseki.
You're welcome.
So, I grew up in that palace in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question I want to remind Ezoduwa for, a little mistake that is ongoing that in our circle in Benin. Let me not attribute to the palace. Ogiamien is a story for another day. I don't want to go into that. I know he's not a Benin person. Then when is it become a norm for a title holder, our turn to family, a household name? Because I understand that Bishop Obaseki retained his title according to my own great grandfather, and I read it. Irawa Ayobage Gunorine Orugboka Wabirage Agwebo Nuwatie Isekwe is not his name, is Agwebo.
I want anything.
You cannot bear anything. Oshodi is there, Iyase is there. So that second man, also need go another. My dad told me where this man is not a Benin man. I believe they said it's from Usuka, that's Oshimiri area. This Obaseki in Ekiokpagha. His full name is Ewedo. We will go on your Obaseki according to my father. Why is all of them asking Obaseki now? Obaseki is a title. It's not a household name. That is number one. Chief Nusa Agwebo. One time they were not calling Nusa Isekwe. No. He's a priest. Or Kadboba Wowa Era Hamamego Afi. Alawi Mine as a Kagbe from Yama from Hobi. Also Hureyo. Enyo Agwebo. His father's name is Agwebo. His name is Nusa. Why was he asking Nusa Isekwe before all what took place now, now happened? That is all I would just want to ask. Because they made a measure of Ohore too. Ohore, I know, one is in Ini under Ogiamen. And that river that started from Mokoro, already led the Sensibio, Luwini, Budoni, and know of one Ohore there. So that's why, this is what I want you to know, and I want you to explain better, because Eoye do Obaseki, Pare Yigini were say, according to history, where no Deni were say, because I could go and it was very industrial. Or wait now, Hamai, can I Hamai? And I will give you Obaseki no day. That is what become Obaseki. The family name is Ewedo, which I know. It's like with some of Benin. You know what I'm saying? You cannot say block Yesamana or Igbenedion or Yesama or no the lucky one to have dinner where you will look Yesama. But this thing has to be correct. Corrected I mean. That is just what I want to say, and I want you to give me a reply to it, please.
Okay, pa.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Come on.
History deep as a writer for years now. History deep where. We won't hear from Zoduwa. So we're not here about Obaseki. Wow, motor video. Let's go.
With all due respect to a power Obaseki, I have done practical research on the Obaseki's family. And this is not a speculative history. It's an assertive history. The Obasekis are pure Benin people. Ewedo, it's just let me put it this way. Okay. Yeah, I mean in low door, the people might not really grasp what I want to explain. The story of the Iyase Luku. It's just like an Iyase Luku man, someone from the royal house of Iyase Luku, returning back from Iyase Luku to Benin. Then, after some time, the Benin people will now be saying that Ewedo or Iyase Luku no. But don't also forget the royal house of Iyase Luku, Ewedo, the first king of Iyase Luku, Wadia Oyobawa no. Area Unsukwawa. There was a matter that happened long before the Unsukwa matter. I want to draw comparison. This matter happened during the time of Obaseki. The Obi of Iyase Luku at that time, Ona Bio Omokpa Yohe, Ona Bio Omowe, Ona Bio Biakpa Yohe, Ona Bio Omowe Yowa. Ogi Bio Yowa, Nyegi Wune, or Toiri Orue, since he was a king. There were now quarrel between these two sons on who to ascend the throne of Iyase Luku. Now, I want us to pay very attention. There's a reason I'm driving comparison between Iyase Luku and the Obaseki family, because it was about the same thing that happened almost 300 years apart or 400 years. I want to drive an explanation so that you people will understand very well. So here I've had the two sons. I think one was called Obio, then the other one was called, I've forgotten it, I've forgotten it. I did a video on it. I probably will, after this one, I probably will forward the video. The video was the chronology of Ekiokpagha, proving that Ekiokpagha was a Benin man. And all of that, but I did a chronology on that studies. So these two princes, said was Obaseki. Agi boezoni anabe oviopa nodion orioba or veriogi. So even if una bear yohe, so then I said that the one who was to be, who is the rightful occupant of the throne should stay back in Benin so that they can train him on the rudimentary of kingship. That is why most Iyase Luku princes are trained in the palace. Our Maya time then another normally the one that didn't win, that one should return back home. Only so why he looted everything that was in the palace and ran away with his sister. Honor your form a kingdom away. Again, Nagi trained Ewedo, Iyase, the palace was completely looted. 300 years later, the same matter had happened between two brothers, when their father, who was the king of Nsukwa in present-day Delta State, had died. Now, Opa Regenigi Buezo, it was Akenzwa the first. Akenzwa the first on Agis. Ori Buezo, not losing or all. Because of what has happened about 300 years earlier. Never have loot. Never have looted the palace of Nsukwa. Then I said they will not allow him to return back to Nsukwa. But don't forget, the first Enogi of Nsukwa, the first king of Nsukwa, was a Benin prince. Iyorokboa, one of the sons of Orokboa. Oya former no, not Orokboa. Orokboa, sorry, Zorokboa. One of the sons of Orokboa, Oyarioge, one of the princes of Obarokboa, Oyarioge Unsukwa, which coming to this my narration, Ega Kenzwa the first. So Agibwezo, the one who lost the case, was called Osifo. Then the one who won the case, Agi my time and then was allowed to return. But the one who lost the case, Anabe Akwe. Not the Egbe do, another Egbe Unsukwa, that never Yahweh Boligi, citing the instances of what had happened about 200-300 years earlier in Isoluku. It was not retained. But don't forget, Ewedo, ni Evian will tell present day Delta region, Dana came back again. So he was made Osifo. His name was Osifo. It was that Osifo ni Odo bie Ogbede Oyo. Oyo ni, Oyo, the kneecap, when able to kneecap,
exactly,
was swollen. And I boyo in a Oyo, it was swollen. So he has a swollen kneecap. The nickname, a nickname in it was a nickname to him, or when I do yate Oyo, Ogboyo, Oyo, Oyo, but his name was Ogbede Oyo. Now, that Ogbede Oyo was made an Ineni Biwe. A power understands that Unawa Oriove Wotedo, there are some titles that are not given to Oriove. One of them is Ineni Biwe. They are not given to outsiders for whatever reasons. When I want Mwagweye, when I want Osoidi, when I want Neni Biwe. These are Ineni Biwe and Osoidi are the heads, are the double heads of Wangwe. Wangwe is the head of Iwedo. Wangwe is the head of Iwedo. Iyase is the head of Iwegwa. Then also the and Ineni Biwe are the heads of Ibiwe, the co-heads of Ibiwe. These are strategic palace courts that are not given to non-natives. I also would want to cite another example concerning the second Iyase of Benin. The second Iyase of Benin is from a place called Onichaolona. Was from a place called Onishaolona, but they were pure Benins. Iyasowo Barogboa. Because it couldn't be a place having a proximity to Igbo areas, his language changed. Omazedo say because Odwana Bio Obodo. Edona don Iyase Obodunkem Obodumbem Edohoi, because he wasn't speaking Benin. That is not the first Iyase that didn't speak Benin. There was an Iyase Nawati Okorotun. Iyase Okorotun was born in Ekiti because his forefathers had fought in the Benin-Ekiti wars. They were retained in Ekiti. After Obaeweka Hiriobane, some of the Benis came back from Ekiti. One of them was made an Iyase, and at Iyase Okorotun. Iyase Okorotun could not speak Edo language. He was speaking a mixture of Edo, a little 20% Edo and 80% Yoruba. But he was a pure Benin man that left here between the Benin Ekiti wars, the Benin Ekiokpagha wars, but he came back. The same was the Obaseki family. They went to Nsukwa and some of them came back. That is why some of their families are still at Nsukwa, but they are Benin people. Now I have answered that. I can give you a lot of historical books to prove that they are Benin. They, when Mehete Godwin said, they told Ewedo more cavitas. Now, Awo was one of the sons of Ewedo. He was given a title of Obaseki. Don't also forget, after he died, he was first given the title of Obaseki. Then later on, it was upgraded to the Iyase. After he died, his son, Gaius Obaseki Sr., was also given the Iyase title. But that Iyase title was given to 3 of the Ogbedo, your children. 3 of them, the Obaseki title. So, but Oba Akenzwa wanted to remove that title from them. They protested. And they said, you know, I told you that part of Otinya Haiwa, one of the Obaseki family. If I give a chronology of the Obaseki family, I'm not saying Godwin. Aside Godwin being bad, there were other of Obasekis that were very bad as well, even worse than Godwin. This is not me trying to paint the entire family, but I'm saying that that family has produced up to 4 to 5 persons that held the kingdom down outside Godwin. When Akenzwa was trying to give that title, the next program I will feature on Olakoko, I'm going to bring a book written by the late Esogma, Chief D.U. Edebi, the late Esogma, and I'm going to read some passages to you. He clearly explains the recalcitrant attitude of some of the Obaseki's lineage. So Akenzwa wanted to remove that title from their family, but they protested that he cannot do it. That Ohamaimo title ni no more okpa. They're bogging, but I'm no mabe. Obarediawa in his infinite mercy, when he now saw that they were hell bent on retaining that title, now gave that title to one of the Obasekis, now called Obasekis now, to one of the Ogbedo, and gave it to them as an hereditary title. So that title now became an hereditary title retained with them. So that is why I understand the past confusion. There is Obaseki as a name, and there's Obaseki as a title. The title, they didn't allow that title to leave their family. So no other person has ever had that title except that family. Over the time, they now became known as Obaseki, even if it was a title and it was retained in that lineage. That's why they be Obaseki till date. And also forget they produced 2 Iyase that were illegal. Ago Obama ma Iyase, Gaius Obama ma Iyase, Ebome Iyase. I think I did a video on that. That the 2 illegal Iyase Noredo. There are 17th Iyases. The current Iyase is the 17th. Uwe 17 Eva is Dagbo Kavita. It's there. It's everywhere in all books. Dagbo no.
That is historical fact.
And it's an historical fact. They can't even argue that Obama man Ago. That is why if you are very aware, the family aware, Obakenzwadi never wanted him to be buried in Benin land. That's another story for another day. Now, coming to Isekure. Isekure is also a title.
Exactly.
Like a part said, their names are Agwebo, but Isekure is also a title. I have done, let me just quickly run through, but I'm going to be fast because I'm very, very exhausted. Let me just quickly run through. Iha mani ogbe, owe eha, owo monoba. Every day, owe oya awe ha owo monoba. Ro eva ori oboka eha. Eha at your forehead, owo monoba.
Exactly.
Iha mani ogbe and ogefa no mwekbo. Ori oboka eha owo monoba. So Iha mani must propitiate Oba's heads every morning. Again, it ties to there when I was explaining the Ogiamen issues. Again, Nana Negwana Karu Sama. So Ihamani Ogbe Porta is very close to Sama Palace. So the Ihamani Ogbe of that time was very old. Again, by where do you move palace? Usama Ajuwo Edo Ogbe. Ihamani now pleaded to Bayewedo that no lao, he's an old man. The distance no hearing in our lamoto. Egeni oware. Abifien zevani ra. Afien ra. So it's quite a journey before you can leave the quarter of Iha Mani Ogbe Adie Ogbe Vidian. So it was a difficult journey. So he pleaded with the Oba that his second son, by Hemi and Ayaragmon, which is the father of Ewedo. Right? Again, Hemi and Ayaragmon, which is Owa Lily and you by our, so he knows what to do. What is his own first son? Only Mama Boma or your but in Hindu Mai and I'm not now. So he now sent his second son, which is the line of this Agwebo, this Nosakari. He now sent him no Yaweha or Bayewedo. He did it for a couple of times. Bayewedo and I loved him as a person. He now told only Mani Ogbe, which was their father at that time. Automatically, Otonariore, because Mani Ogbe title is hereditary. Otonariore, the first one also becomes Mani Ogbe.
Yes.
Now, but the second son Gina, so money the Mani Ogbe at that time. Now allow this second son now. Now see ni ebo one Ogbe, which is Owani no Mori Bonebe, Nagi Mioe, the Shokumba, because that was not his house. Otoba no is a traditional ground. It doesn't own that.
You're very correct.
Moya do Bewane no Diawa, so that he is not far from the palace. So with a title called Isekure. Title Bayewedo instituted is one of the first outside the Iyase was the first title that was created by Ewedo. The second title was Esogba. The third is Isekure. These were the pioneering 3 titles that were created in Benin. Iyase, Esogba, Isekure. These were the first 3 titles that were created, but Iyase was the first. So no title was created in Benin land before Iyase. Those Oliha, those Eho, they are not chief of the Oba Benin. I've done a chronology of that. So they are not title holders. So he now created the Isekure title. Isekure Oidwawe Ehaoba for years until the current holder, which was Nosahai Olado Sotegwa. Aiki history book. What Omo simply did was to revert the original role ni sekure
to
duau
the
to the original
rightful
owner,
God.
which is the person,
Exactly.
which is Ihama, because Ihama is the Okaigbe of the Ihogbe family. Why the line of Isekure is the second son line of that original Ihama during Ewedo. So Isekure is a title of the Agwebo family given to them by Ewedo, which if it's an hereditary title, you can bear it. You cannot bear it as your name. Title, if it's not an hereditary title, you cannot bear it as your name. It's just like when Iyase is not hereditary, but every family na Iyase automatically will change their greeting to Iyase. Except the current Iyase is the only Iyase that didn't change his greeting. But every other Iyases, that's why they are Obaseki greet Iyase, because two of the Obasekis in Iyase. Otherwise, they would have been greeting Lamugun as a griffin because they are from the lineage of Obaorogboa. That I can tell you for a fact. So Erioni Temenas or a papa not it is a Fiona Bow, a papa not that if the palace was not in good rapport with the Obaseki family, why did the Obaseki married two daughters from the royal house?
Yes.
Let me just is a simple fact. As an Iyase, you are entitled to the first daughter to Uwinohwa. You are entitled to the first daughter of the Oba of Benin. That was a practice until Oba Akenzwa stopped it.
It was a tradition then.
It was the tradition of the old. And Iyase must marry, no matter how old, must marry the first daughter of the Oba. It was not because any Oba loved Awu or Gaius. That's why they gave their daughter. It was an observation of the long tradition. So that's the answer to your question. I've heard a lot of Obaseki people saying that. No, it was, go and find that. Once you become an Iyase, the tradition depicts that you must marry the first. I even told Uwinohwa, the current Princess Ikoyeme, the current Uwinohwa of Obaiwa and Orona, Ovienodium. I told her jokingly about 2 years ago that if that tradition was not abolished by your great-grandfather, you could have been the wife of the current Iyase by now. All right, I know. Is that so? No, that is the tradition. But Obaiweka stopped it. So that was why. That's the reason. And not say they married two of the daughters of Obairidia, of the Obas of them.
Let's see. No, we'll call it a day. We'll call it a day.
I have to leave. Anyone I don't want to
we'll say for your we decided not to answer. Where the only way to counter these people is with historical facts.